Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders, all my fam up in this chat inside the real life trading group. What is up to YouTube for the pre-market show? Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys, your weeks are going absolutely insanely well for you guys. And we made it halfway through, ladies and gentlemen. We are halfway through as of today. So a little bit of a hump day. We had lots of selling and bearish sentiment for this week because, I mean, let's face it, only one trading day so far this week. So let's see how that changes dynamics a little bit. But I mean, this is a 30-minute chart. We're actually gonna go back to that 30-minute chart in just a second because there's something that I kind of like on there. But just taking a look at the that was a horrible close yesterday. Horrible close. Gap and go from yesterday. So yesterday, the play was short. I mean, you wake up after a 3-day week. You had a decent little bullish day on Friday at close. Some bullish sentiment on that wick. You wake up, you're gapping underneath that wick. You're gapping underneath the opening range, the close range. Yeah, sentiment was short for sure. Let's see kind of where let me just go back to the multi-chart here and just see where we're starting our day. We're at 4. Well, I mean, technically, and by the time I finish a sentence, it's going to change because it's still pretty active right now. But we're right at that. This green line on my chart is an 89 EMA. If we go back a little bit, I mean, we didn't even have to go back that far, but you had a bounce off there this day. You had a bounce off of here a few days ago. Bounce off of here on this day. Bounce off of there. Bounce. This was scary for sure down here. We were getting some closes underneath it, and then we got to bounce right back into it. So again, technically we have a gap and go in the market today, a bullish gap and go. I just don't know how much I trust it at this point. We're right at that 89. For me, I gotta be a little bit more patient at the open today, because even though we have some kind of gap and go and sentiment would be a little bit more bullish, we just went from 479.98. Let's not even use that pivot. We'll still just even the shorter term pivot, 473.15 all the way down to 456.49, or actually lower, 455 and change. That's a pretty big drop still, and we're still not inside of this candle yet. So yes, we have a little bit more bullishness in the market today. You got to kind of expect some kind of just relief at some point. Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down. I'm very cautious right around this 89 level, which right now to the penny it's 458.60. Let's go to that 30-minute chart like I promised. Let me do that real quick, because it is a little bit interesting. Notably, this volume. So this is not extended hours. This volume that came in yesterday at the end did create decent looking hammer. And where did we say we're opening today? 458. So we're up a little bit. Most hammers do get retested. That is a good, at least a little bit of a good bear trap in the market. So if I was to short this thing, and what I mean by for anybody in this room, anybody in YouTube land, what I mean by bear trap is if I was to say, you know what, this market is that's it, it's toast. Let's get our puts ready, start shorting. That would be the spot I'm looking to short. So very, very small little bear trap. It did dip right below that previous pivot. That looks like a good, decent spot. We still have that gap and go and play. So everything is still leaning bearish. And then all of a sudden the bulls come in and said, no, we got one more fight in us. Let's rally this thing together. And this thing did close with a hammer. I do like the volume right down here. That's trapping a lot of people on this gap in the morning. And we might have some kind of, the way I can see it is probably some people that took out the shorts yesterday, because yesterday that was the right time in the last half hour to get your shorts when you had this time This time over here, you could have got puts, this, but a lot of people, they get their puts, they get their shorts, typically when the trade's over, that little FOMO trade. And I think you're trapping a lot of people who maybe took out that extra security policy yesterday in the market. So we will see, but it's interesting. 458, 37. We're still within this range. I think at any point we start breaking out 458.74, we have a chance. But now, even on this 30-minute, we have all these moving averages coming in that are above us. So those are actually going to act as a little bit of possible resistance. It might be a very slow day today. We'll see. We're kind of trapping some bulls here, but we still have a lot of we're trapping a lot of bears today right now from that last at least 30 minutes. And we have some previous bulls that are trapped as well. So potential inside day. We'll see. Let's check out the Qs real quick. Qs, again, volume came in right at the end of the day. A little bit of a hammer, good little bull trap. And looks like we're opening somewhere around this 372.80 zone. So pretty much identical to the SPY. So the Qs, the SPY kind of lined up. The patterns look almost similar from that last 30 minutes. Let me just check the daily real quick on this one. To me as a trader, this would tell me let's just be patient. Let's just wait at the open. The weird thing is it's just January, right? So we have the full rest of the year to make money. If we're slow and we miss the first 10, 15 minutes, it's okay. So that's perfectly fine. This is the daily chart, right? Oh, 372. So yeah, still just an inside day. Gotta kind of be patient. Somebody in YouTube is looking at Sofi, so we'll take a look at that one. Here's our daily. Yeah, this one was trending for a little bit. Let me see why. That's a decent gap and go. It's actually a little bit higher. So yeah, I like that volume. Sofi might be a good one. Again, the same thing that I just kind of went over with the SPY and just these EMAs. Take all of the EMAs with a grain of salt, right? And I'll tell people in the trading room, people in my mentor groups, you have these EMAs. This one for me is an 8. This is a 21. I know I got some odd ones. I think that's a 34, 55, 89. You could have 100, you could have a 200, you could have a 10, you could have whatever you want on your chart. All of the EMAs are based off of that time frame on how many candles. So if this is a 21 EMA, all this number is taking an average of the last 21 full candles that closed, and that's saying that's where that average price would be, right? So anytime you have EMAs on your chart, they're typically giving you previous information as far as like past data. It doesn't reflect exactly where it's going to go. The only reason that the EMAs work is just mindset of other traders kind of manifesting that is the location for that price to go to and get rejected, right? So just because everybody else is looking at certain EMAs, that almost validates the EMA. So it is a nice gap and go. I'd be worried at this 1434 range. I think if SoFi comes back at open, so you get a little bit of selling, you want to take a break above the candle. I like the gap though. That is a good decent gap. I mean, we're right back into this pivot, above this pivot. We're trapping good volume yesterday. So decent trap. It's definitely on the watch list, but just be careful of the range as far as it go today. Somebody else wants to look at MS, and then we're also going to take a look at some of the ones that we trade for this month. We're at Real Life Trading. We have six stocks that we're kind of just following trading, trying to make as many R's just on the same stocks over and over. So we'll definitely take a look at those too. MasterCard, I believe they're doing something. Was it something in the crypto field? I think BKKT. No, I'm sorry. That was MasterCard. This is Morgan Stanley. I believe Morgan Stanley actually had earnings, right? If I'm not mistaken. So 94 jumping up to 99. Honestly, you're going to hit a lot of resistance here. Good gap and go. You are trapping some people. You're right into a lot of consolidation. So I'd have to watch this one at open. It is a nice, you're definitely trapping a decent amount of people, but pushing into this range with this strong consolidation resistance up here, it might be a little tough for further continuation. You're also approaching that nice whole grandma number of $100, psychological number. So you might run into a little issue at $100. I'd be concerned about the range on that one, but it is a nice gap and go if you want to look for something bullish. Nvidia 261. This one, not as crazy. Nvidia is on our list for one of the ones that we are trading. So let's take a much deeper look into this one. Part of our rules of the six stocks that we're trading, it has to either gap above or below the previous day's range. If it does not, it has to do it within the first 20 minutes. So if it's already gapping above, we can trade it right at open. But if it's not, we're waiting 20 minutes. If it does break, we have access to trade it. But right now, yeah, it's just inside right now. So a little bit of a gap up overall. I mean, the picture looks a little weak. That's a strong open and close above that 89, which is definitely the line that I'm using. Longer term, I can actually see this one dropping a little bit further. It doesn't mean it happens today, but I'd be looking for somewhere around this 223, 224 zone. I think it's just better pricing if you're looking for entries or swings or something like that. At what point would you buy a put on the SPY now that the fear is high? Like 4 weeks ago would have been helpful. But that being said, yeah, if you get some kind of a bounce, start adding some puts. At this point, if this candle breaks, I know that's like a famous line at Real Life Trading. Falco, I think, says it a lot. But like it was over here. Like if this candle breaks, probably add some puts. The market could drop a lot more. So don't feel like you're too late to the game, especially if you're using it for insurance purpose. If you're using it for trying to trade to make profit purpose, you're typically trying to buy it on up days for puts. So if this thing does get some kind of a rally in it, we get back up to 470.85, we get back up to 475.03, somewhere in those zones. Having some kind of puts in those zones makes sense. I wouldn't be buying it today unless we start breaking down today's candle. Right, makes sense, because if we start closing below this, yeah, we have a ways we could actually drop further, and then it's okay to have those puts in. Those puts are going to be a little bit more expensive today, just because than it was obviously in this range. Just because obviously you have a little bit more fear, a little bit more interest in those puts, and it's driving the premium up. So anytime you get those bounces, if you're worried about the market coming down, or just having the security in your portfolio, yeah, on up days is the day to buy it. See if you can get some kind of a retest zone for some of those puts. Buy a couple here, buy a couple more up at 475-ish. If it goes a little higher, buy a few more at 477. Go a little bit closer to the money at strike prices and give yourself a little bit more time as you're doing the add-on, as opposed to just buying the same contract over and over. That's probably the best way to do that. We have a question. Do you trade futures at all? I used to personally trade futures, but then I found out between the market being open, futures being open, and now crypto pretty much 24/7, I was just not sleeping. So I personally haven't traded the futures in a minute, but we do have people here. We have Kristen that trades. We have Arabia. We also have mentor groups with both of them that specifically are based on futures as well. Let's take a look at Tesla, as that's one of the ones that we do trade. I got 15 minutes till open. Woo! 15 minutes. I did look at this one pre-market. It looked like it moved a little bit further, but still, right now, I'm not expecting anything too crazy out of Tesla. We have those daily moving averages. Again, psychologically, people are going to be looking to sell. Probably price target is going to be up in that 1060 zone, 1057. I think we start seeing some resistance up there and getting down to the bottom of the day. So probably closer to 1029. If you're looking to go long, sounds common sense, but if you're trying to go long in Tesla, see if you get a pullback to like this 1029, because you're just going to get a much better range. As far as like risk to reward goes, if you're looking to short, probably somewhere up in this 1057, 1060 zone would be a much better location. have a little patience. Again, we don't have to take everything right out of the gate. Let me see the other stocks that we are trading this month. AMD, I believe, is one of them. So let's take a look at AMD. AM Dizzle. 133. 22-ish. Yep, that's still looking actually a little bit still weak. Again, it is a gap and go. It's just an inside range. I got to wait at open on this one. The interesting thing on this one, if we do start breaking higher than yesterday's candle, the highs of yesterday, not that it's confirmed yet, but this would be a retest into this hammer, and we look to bounce here. We are still above that 89 EMA. It might take a minute of some kind of consolidation. This is my TTM squeeze at the bottom, by the way. Right now, there's no squeeze, nothing like that. We still actually have bearish momentum in this in AMD. Let me check out Roblox as one of the other ones that we're trading. Yesterday, they did have a little bit of a gap up. You see this line that I drew on my chart. It's a downtrend. We almost tried to break the downtrend. We got right back into it. Let me extend this line out a little bit. Extend this one to the right. We're still definitely within the downtrend. So bearish is still the sentiment until we really start getting some closes above this longer term downtrend that we've been putting in. Did we actually come to this gap fill yet? Yeah. So yesterday we did we? Yeah. So yesterday we hit that gap fill. So this gap is closed at this point. We do have a little bit of, it should be support, and yeah, we're under that support. This hammer actually was right at that support. And when again, it is a little bit of a gap and go. We're up about roughly $1 pre-market. Nothing too crazy. Still, I think the sentiment is still a little bit more bearish in Roblo. Let me just see. Apple would be the other one. So let's take a look at Apple. AAPL. Everything's kind of looking very similar. So again, we have a little bit of a gap and go. Don't just jump into those. Unfortunately, don't just jump into at the money puts, or I usually do about, I believe where you're talking about the SPY puts that I was talking about before. So yeah, the SPY puts. I usually, anytime I do puts, I'm usually about 2 or 3 strikes out of the money. Yep. You're paying a little bit more for in the money. I don't personally, I find it doesn't really make too much difference for me. So I'm personally, everybody has their own style. For me, I'm looking for about two strikes out of the money. We got Apple. So Apple is 170. Again, everything looks exactly the same inside day candle. Nothing too crazy. I got to be patient. None of the plays so far fit the rules. DAL. And just going back to Roblox too. So Roblox yesterday, just as I kind of take a look at Delta, which is on the list, Roblox did have a little bounce yesterday. Obviously, from the deal from ATVI being bought out or attempted to be bought out by Microsoft yesterday. So you were getting in the gaming industry pre-market a lot of pre-market moves, at least based on more sympathy plays than actual news. I think the rumors were like, okay, if Microsoft is buying ATVI, Apple might align well with Roblox and buy it out. Honestly, I don't think it happens. That would be historically one of Apple's biggest purchases they've ever made in their life. So I think it's more news, and you did get a sell-off at open and closed fairly weak on Roblox. So I think that momentum kind of continues. A little bit of a gap up, still inside the range. So nothing really too impressive. What was it? Sofi, I think, was the best gap I've seen so far. Those are the ones. Airbnb. I believe they got a downgrade yesterday. I didn't see on the report any type of price target that they downgraded to, but it went from a buy to a hold. This one's gapping to 157. 157. Yeah. Right at the top of yesterday's range. I like Airbnb long term. That's me personally. I will be buying around these levels to add shares. So here's our TTM squeeze. And if anybody's unfamiliar with it in the live trading room, just let me know. I'll go through that when we have a little bit of slow period in the market. If anybody in YouTube land wants to learn a little bit about the TTM, just shoot me an email, dan@reallifetrading.com. We can set up a time to talk. We do have one-on-one coaching, mentor groups, things like that. I do have actually a live mentor group that is open now. If anybody is interested in it, we have six members total. That would start the 1st February. It's an 8-week program, so we meet every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. But that would be, you can go to reallifetrading.com, click on the top tab that says mentoring, and you can see the groups. Myself and Falco are open for that too, but we could definitely go through TTM. So right now we are in a squeeze on Airbnb, and we just actually flipped to bearish. This one has potential room to continue down, so sentiment's still a little bit weak. You could be a little bit cautious buying this. It does look like it's about to break down a little bit further as well. Again, longer term, I do like Airbnb. I know people personally that have Airbnbs, and they are absolutely raking cash in at these from using Airbnb. Like, it hasn't suffered. If anything, it's actually only increased business. They did have a little bit of surprise earnings last time. Earnings are coming up. Is it, I believe, the end of this month, probably February. As a day trade, again, inside day, just be cautious. Wait for your setup. Wait for your pattern to come in. But I don't think we have to get too aggressive at open with Airbnb. What's up, Cam? We got Rock in the house. Good morning, Matthew, Albert. Ooh, got the squadron in the house. What's the other ones that I wanted to look at? Boeing has been interesting. Boeing has held up as the market's been pulling down. Boeing has been holding up relatively decent. We did have a little bit of a reversal on, it's got to break this 230. If it could break this 230, 240, 245 is in the cards for Boeing. But a little bit of reversal hammer yesterday. We saw a decent volume coming in. Which day was that? That was on this day, and we're kind of just holding inside that range. So even though the market itself has been a little weak, some of the reopening plays, which I would consider Boeing kind of similar to that, at least they're in the same industry as travel, but they also have defense contracts and things like that too. And just from their last earnings, they have a lot of things in the pipelines as far as like orders that have not been filled yet. And they had good news out of China probably about a week ago too, where China can now start taking some of the 737s and ordering those. So very interested to see what their earnings looks like. We've had a massive run. We have a little bit of reversal. 226 for Boeing at open, still again inside range. 225.90, 225.6. It depends on where it opens. If we could get any kind of open above 2 days ago, which would actually be Friday, so anything really above this 226.17, we have potential to move. But again, that wick typically signifies that the bears came in at that spot, smacked it down. I think it does have a lot to do with the broader market. If we get some kind of decent rally at open in the market, you might see a little bit of continued momentum. That 230 has been very, very tough for it. So we'll see. It almost, I think, has to pull back a little bit and then look to jump in and add positions on that one. 924. Let's see what else is moving. Let's take a look at Snapchat. Snapchat looks like death to Smoochie. Just absolutely been getting crushed. Has a I can't even look at this on a daily. A little bit of support. That one broke. Next target to really look at for Snapchat would probably be roughly about 26.18. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook, aka Meta. This one still sitting at a little bit of support. Obviously, that's on a weekly. We can see a probably further breakdown. This 89 on this one will be very strong. So around 297, at least on a weekly basis. Let me pull up a daily. Yeah, pretty weak close yesterday, opening at 220 inside day range. I think overall yesterday's red candle would be the sentiment for today. So that would be probably still leaning a little bit bearish, but we have at least a little bit of hope in the bullish. We have a little bit of hope in the bullish end of things. Airbnb, Roblox. So right now, not out of the 6 stocks that we have, we don't have any that is really gapping outside of the range. Everything is inside. Inside day is very difficult typically to trade inside day candles. Again, Sofi, if there's anything else, I got 4 minutes left. You guys can throw it into the chat or into YouTube. but I don't really see anything too crazy that I think like we have to be in. SoFi does look the best out of all of them. So somebody mentioned SoFi earlier. Out of all the gaps, that one looks decent. I think they also have a decent short float too. I'm not sure if we're gonna have time to pull this up, but let's see. Finviz, SoFi. Let me just see the short float real quick. Short float's 10%. That's a decent short float. You could see probably some people getting trapped. They might have to buy back their shares. That might have a little bit of continuation at open. So for me personally, I'll leave SoFi on the list. And what do we got? 3 more minutes. Take a look at some of the other stocks. Coinbase. Coinbase is still sitting at a very, very strong support. Are we gapping up a little bit on Coinbase? We got 224. Yep, still inside their range. So unless it starts breaking the highs of yesterday, and again, we have all those moving averages to start to contend with. BAC, someone's thrown out in YouTube land. So let's see, we got, as I'm looking at BAC, make sure you guys on YouTube hit that like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you guys check out all of the content, updated market information, news, and anytime we go live or anytime we have a new video of what we're doing in real life trading, you guys will be able to get those notifications and be able to check out those videos. BAC is probably moving a little bit off of Morgan Stanley. 48. That's a decent gap to go. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be looking a little bullish on this one. Let me see the 5-minute chart. Let me do one better, actually. Let me just put on the extended hours. Restore sells. BAC. I'd have to wait for some kind of a pullback because there's a lot of bullish candles in a row. But trying to catch some kind of price around 47.72-ish. Try to catch that little pullback and then look for that breakout. That would make tons of sense to me. But I do like that gap as far as it is a gap and go on a daily chart. Looks to be like we're trapping a decent amount of people. Yep, so that's not a bad move. Probably the targets on this one, at least be selling some kind of partials, if not be out by like 48.75. And then I personally would be out 48.94. Just I would take everything at that range, unless this market just absolutely starts ripping and you have some kind of momentum where the tide could lift all boats. But that's going to be a tough range for it to break. Otherwise, it is a decent gap. You're into a little bit of resistance. I still like the SoFi gap a little bit better, but this is not a bad one. And again, it's a decent bullish move. Oh, so this was actually on earnings. All right, so their earnings came out and then moved. But yeah, there's going to be some profit taken at open on that. Wait for some kind of a little bit of dip. All right, so we got 25 seconds. I'm going to shut down YouTube. Thank you guys for joining us for the Real Life Trading pre-market show. Be safe out there in these muddy waters as you tread them. And, stay away from any sharp objects in the sea. Make sure if the great white shark is chasing you, just know your stops. Get out when you can. Enjoy the rest of the day, YouTube.